part of Guyana Shines, including students, teachers, government officials, representatives of diplomatic and civil society organizations. It's also an exciting moment for those who have not yet been involved with Guyana Shines, but are here to learn more about it. Guyana Shines was launched in Earth Day of 2012, and since then our work has never stopped. Our motivation for Guyana Shines is to encourage and mobilize citizens and communities to maintain a clean environment, address the serious littering problem, and return Guyana to its former splendor as the Garden City of the Caribbean. So this afternoon, we're going to have an award ceremony to thank our amazing Guyana Shines volunteers. And we will do a quick segment to share the artwork of the winners of our Wildlife Protection Drawing Contest. After that, we will officially premiere, for the first time ever, our Guyana Shines documentary. Before we begin with the awards, I would like to invite U.S. Ambassador D. Brent Hart to speak at the podium. Ambassador Hart had the original idea to create Guyana Shines, to bring all parties together on an issue that we're all affected by and that we all care about. Please welcome Ambassador Hart.
And teachers and members of the media who have come out. Since its launch a little over a year ago, the people who make up Guyana Shines have been active in schools and neighborhoods throughout Guyana to encourage people to come together as communities to take action to end the scourge of litter and to restore Guyana to its natural shine. In short, we've been seeking to encourage people to make a difference, to stop talking about the litter problem and to start doing something about it. We have been absolutely thrilled with the response that we have witnessed from communities, from young people, from the private sector, government, and many other stakeholders. So today I would like to commend all of you, all of our amazing volunteers who have been the driving force behind Guyana Shines for your dedication and for your concern for protecting the environment of our great planet Earth. Today's Shinefest event on Earth Day 2010 is held in your honor. Guyana Shines, as we were joined by local partners Conservation International and Youth Challenge Guyana. While the initiative was welcomed by most people, there were a few skeptics who suggested that our effort was merely a symbolic gesture and that it really wouldn't make a difference in the end. But then something happened. The initiative became like a snowball, growing and picking up speed as it rolled along. People in communities came out to support the initiative, school groups joined in, the University of Guyana students, Lions and Rotary clubs, private sector groups, and many, many more came out to make a difference. Without all of these volunteers, Guyana Shines really would not be a success today. Once we were launched, we initially started with 2 hands-on volunteer-based cleanup projects in the Georgetown neighborhoods of Lodge and Tuckville. Our Guyana Shines teams work together with the residents from these communities to support the cleanup and to make them shine. We donated the tools, and we brought, most importantly, encouragement, devotion to a cause, and belief in the ability of the people of this country, of Guyana, to take charge of their environment and to effect positive change. After seeing what was happening, we were especially delighted to be approached by community leaders from other communities, from Isla Penitence and Festival City, who asked us to come and join them in their community cleanup efforts, which we were only too happy to do, and we're certainly happy to continue that effort going forward. The second core element of Guyana Shines has been our outreach to primary and secondary schools across Georgetown. Over 50 Guyana Shines volunteers, many of whom I know are here today, visited the schools and made presentations to students to increase their awareness of the harmful effects of littering and pollution, and to encourage young Guyanese to care for their environment. In these educational presentations, we urge students not to be part of the problem, but to be part of the solution. At each visit, we saw, I think, really incredible interest and enthusiasm among the students, and actually an impressive bit of knowledge as well. They know what the issues are, they know what the challenges are, and they do want to make a difference in their environment. So there's a good foundation on which we can build. And we certainly believe, all of the Guyana Shines partners, that educating young people is one of the most effective ways to transform the attitudes of an entire nation. We hope that these presentations, with their showing how long it takes for things to biodegrade, including the styrofoam containers with a million years, that I think sticks in a lot of people's minds, that this will keep students focused on the challenge. In the span of 1 year, we have been able to reach all 62 primary and secondary schools in Georgetown, and happily, because of this snowball effect, more schools have approached us. So I would at this point just like to give a round of applause to all of you for all of your effort to reach all these schools, because I think that's a really great accomplishment. So Guyana Shines joined forces also with students and staff and parents from the Marion Academy, who I understand a number are here today. And we did a special project to build a recycling shed at the school. And so this was from December 2012 to February 2013. We had a team of volunteers that planned and built and then painted the shed. And now the environmental club at the Marion Academy can store plastic bottles there instead of someplace in the school and get them recycled. And so this is just one way in which schools, and it's really a model for other schools, to organize and participate in environmental projects, and we certainly encourage this as well. Schools can organize their own cleanup projects, they can do arts and crafts projects using recycled materials, and go on field trips to learn more about the environment and the waste management process throughout Guyana. They can create their own vegetable or plant gardens or create a compost heap. So there's just many, many opportunities out there for young people. All of us, young and old, can make environmentally friendly choices in our everyday lives that are easy and that really can make a difference. We can reuse our tableware, our silverware, and glasses instead of disposable ones. We can choose products that have less packaging, or ask for no bag, or bring a reusable bag when we shop. As consumers, we can ask for and demand biodegradable products. There are some great examples outside here. I was just talking to Caribbean Containers and some of the other vendors out there, and the containers, instead of 1 million years, they take only 90 days to biodegrade, which is a huge improvement. And I hope that after our event here that you'll take some time and visit with all those who are demonstrating their environmentally friendly products outside. For our part, the Guyana Shines teams during our school visits shared valuable information on this type of approach with biodegradable snack containers. We spoke with head teachers, we talked to the vendors themselves. We're trying to encourage all of those vendors to use eco-friendly containers. We've given them the price information and the contact numbers for those who sell them. And every time we visited the school, in addition to the educational outreach, we did this business outreach as well to try to encourage schools to go green. At our embassy, and I know in other missions, we are also making our own efforts to go green, replacing the styrofoam with cardboard containers in our cafeterias and encouraging our people to recycle at home and at work. So all of this information on littering, recycling, and civic activism is important for Guyana, and that's why we remain committed to this Guyana Shines initiative. Our goal is to reach and to inspire as many Guyanese citizens as we can to make a difference. Now, to expand the reach of Guyana Shines, we wanted to create a documentary. This documentary film, which is being premiered today for the very first time, will, we hope, inform and motivate more citizens to become part of the solution, as all of our path-breaking volunteers have done so far. As you will see, this documentary will allow more people to see what Guyana Shines volunteers and our staff have already seen, the enthusiasm, the spirit, and the desire of people and communities throughout Guyana to live in a clean and a shining country. So hopefully it will inspire more people to replicate some of the ideas and come up with their own ideas in their own communities. I always like to mention that in the United States, we have also gone through our own environmental challenges, and we continue to do so. But back in the late 60s and 70s, when I was growing up, we had trash in the streets, and people would throw rubbish from their cars when they were on the highways. We had polluted rivers and lakes. But we really launched a true national movement to keep America beautiful. And we had education, we had community-based environmental activities, we had the private sector actively involved, and public service campaigns to change the mindset and the attitudes of the American people. And it worked. It really did work. I'm a product of that era, and I can remember well the messages that we were getting. And I'm very confident that a similar transformation is possible here in Guyana. And in fact, from what I have seen, this transformation has already begun. And I was just talking outside with some of the young people from the Youth for Guyana group. Sunday, a group of about 50 young people have just decided that they are going to take action. And they're out cleaning up the streets as well. So that's extraordinarily encouraging to see that kind of initiative. Since Guyana Shines started last year, we have in fact seen the government and communities take action to address littering, including the nationwide Pick It Up campaign, which we strongly support. We've seen churches, mosques, temples, private sector groups, schools, Rotary and Lions clubs, as I mentioned, and other groups all coming together or taking their own initiative to clean up the environment. Happily, we've seen a unanimous parliamentary resolution to work together to solve the environmental challenges and restore Georgetown. 4 technical committees have been created to resolve the still very serious structural issues that remain and that need fixing in order to address the litter issue on a permanent basis. And we have seen these community organizations form their own cleanup campaigns, such as the Youth for Guyana. So this evening, again, I just wish to encourage all of you to keep up the great work and to see how much more we can accomplish in the coming year. When we meet again next year on be it Earth Day or World Environment Day, I want to be able to say that we have seen the emergence of new attitudes and new actions toward the environment. It's really up to each of us to make a difference in our own environment, no matter how small or no matter how big the effort. As American anthropologist Margaret Mead said, never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it is the only thing that ever has. So allow me again to thank this group of thoughtful and dedicated citizens. You are changing Guyana and you are changing the world. Thank you very much.
Spirit of volunteerism and civic activism in support of the Guyana Shines project to increase environmental awareness to primary and secondary schools in Georgetown. First certificate to Angelisa Alexander.
For taking on this project and making it a learning opportunity for others. For lugging around cumbersome and expensive equipment around Guyana and being a good sport about it. For figuring out every single technical difficulty that happened during our shoots. And most of all, for your creativity and artistic talent. Thank you. To Sumaya Abudule, for being a great poster child for Guyana Shines. For sharing the Guyana Shines message with the interfaith community, sometimes single-handedly. For getting your signature dance move into the first Guyana Shines video. For volunteering your time after hours or any free moment that you possibly have to be a part of this project. Thank you. To Theodore Demonic, for going above and beyond in your Guyana Shines volunteering and reaching 6 schools all by yourself. For caring about this issue on a personal level and sharing that sentiment with others. For being an inspiration and a great role model for other staff in the embassy community. Thank you. To Sister Shelley from Marian Academy, thank you for your spirit and your true leadership in your school environment. For being a reliable and helpful partner and collaborator and generally being a pleasure to work with. For setting an excellent standard for other educators in Guyana to follow. Thank you. Last but not least, to Aretha Majid, for being my number 2 on all things Guyana Shines, for worrying about the tiniest of details so that I don't have to, for having a bright attitude and taking on some of the hardest jobs, especially when nobody else wanted to, for keeping me sane and always entertained, for all of your support, mental, emotional, and even physical, like when we have too many posters, banners, bins, bags, and props to carry around. And for your wonderful sense of humor and your incredible professionalism. Thank you very much. Okay, I would now like to welcome Shanice Dawson and Blossom Ferrer to the podium. Shanice is one of our embassy's youth ambassadors, and Blossom, as you have seen, is a Guyana Shines volunteer and future youth ambassador. Please welcome them.
Good afternoon once again. This year, as part of Guyana Shines, the 2013 Wildlife Drawing Contest. The objective of this contest was to draw a picture of some of the beautiful wildlife in Guyana. And tell us, why is wildlife conservation important?
The U.S. Embassy received more than 100 entries of drawings from students aged 11. These beautiful drawings and inspirational quotes, which you see flashing on the screen before you, will be used to create a 2014 calendar to help us promote protection for wildlife.
Every year, thousands of animal species become extinct. Animals that once roamed the earth in abundance are permanently disappearing from our planet at an alarming, heart-stopping pace. Scientists estimate that the current rate of extinction is 1,000 times greater than it would normally be because of one factor. What has caused these rapid rise in extinctions? The alarmingly simple answer: humans.
We're consuming Earth's natural resources faster than they can be replenished. We're destroying animals' habitats, their food, water, and air, as well as the animals themselves, at an unsustainable rate. As more bird nesting areas are cleared to build skyscrapers, rivers drained for parking lots, and elephants slaughtered to make trinkets, the number and diversity of animals contract.
In addition to our high resource consumption, an even more disturbing trend is threatening our wildlife: trafficking. The illicit trade of animals and their body parts on the black market is growing. Rising demand for products derived from some of the world's most iconic animals, such as elephants, rhinos, and tigers, threatens not only these species, but the peace, health, and prosperity of the people who live around them.
When an entire species of animal goes extinct, the loss is greater than the animals lost. Although we may consider the animal world to be separate from our own, our lives and theirs are intertwined, connected by a million threads. Plants, animals, people, and the environment together constitute a biological community, an ecosystem, in which each part depends on the other for survival. When one part of the community is thrown off balance or eliminated, the entire system suffers. Further, wildlife trafficking reduces the security of citizens and the profit of legitimate businesses.
Even though humans are wildlife's greatest threat, we are also their only hope. All over the world, individuals and small groups, as well as large organizations, corporations, and governments are doing their part to ensure a more secure future for our wildlife and for us. From curbing demand for animal byproducts, establishing and enforcing laws against illegal trafficking, and volunteering with conservation organizations that help protect endangered species, conservation heroes are combating the threats facing Earth's animals in a variety of ways.
No act of conservation is too small to be significant. We may not be able to bring back the species we've already lost, but there are many more that are on the brink of extinction that need our immediate attention and action. Don't be a part of the action. Be the solution. Respect and protect Earth's wildlife. Thank you.
students who entered the drawing contest. I would now like to welcome a very important person up to the podium, Mr. Matt Cusmano. Film and video at Columbia College in Chicago, Illinois. He has worked on a number of projects to support his fellow Peace Corps volunteers and other organizations around Guyana, including Camp Flow, the Women's Enterprise Expo, and Builders Beyond Borders. His incredible artistic ability and creativity have been put to good use in Guyana and shared with others. We're very fortunate that Matt has volunteered his time and expertise with Guyana Shines to capture our activities and share our important message with Guyanese people. Matt?
Okay, thank you, Tabby. You're shorter than I am. Hi. Before coming to Guyana, my last project as a filmmaker was doing projection art for a burlesque show that was set to the music of German composer Kurt Weill. And then I said, okay, that's probably the most unique thing I've done in terms of video. I'm going to put the camera away, I'm going to go to Guyana for 2 years or so, and then I'm just going to be a teacher. However, that really wasn't the case, because coming to Guyana, there's so many different stories here that are unique. It's a mystique and uniqueness about a South American country that can also claim to be part of the Caribbean community. And that, within itself, is a lot of story. There's a lot embedded in that. There's 3 goals of Peace Corps, okay? First, we come here and we teach a skill, right? And for me, that skill has been embedded in emotional growth and tactics for analytical skills. And in considering film, you have a theme, and you have character development, and you have story structure. And when you master story structure, you first identify the concept or the subject, and in this case, it's littering. The subject of our film is just that, it's a subject. When children enhance their literacy skills, they're enhancing their understanding of their own personal storyline, their own lives, and they can more easily identify where their obstacles lay. The reasoning for a lack of good film or video that I often hear, especially in Guyana, is a lack of good cameras. Now, we had a camera and we had a budget, I'm not going to lie to you, we had a budget around $300 US, which isn't much. It pretty much covered our transportation costs. There was no lighting, and without Andrea Bryan, I was my own camera crew. Now, my philosophy is to use your limitations to your advantage, and if you have a story to tell, then tell it, and don't blame the camera. Focus on, sorry, I just hit puberty, guys, I'm so sorry. Focus on your story and theme, and keep in mind that filmmaking is a collaborative art and business. If you're passionate about it, that's all that matters. Whether or not I was successful, I'll leave that up to you. Just don't blame the camera. Now, the second goal of Peace Corps is that I learned something here by living in Guyana. Guyana teaches me something. And Americans are not perfect in terms of environmental issues. Now, watching my garbage pile up in a burn pile here in Guyana has forced me to reevaluate how much I produce in America. And it's a sobering reminder that although where I'm from has trash collection, the garbage simply doesn't disappear in a thin air. Now, my favorite part of Guyana is the fresh produce and how plentiful it is. In Chicago and elsewhere in the U.S., for one reason or another, processed food is cheaper than fresh food, but here it's the opposite. Now, personally, my blood pressure is a little bit on the high side, and coming to Guyana and consuming fresh produce and being able to control the sodium content that's in my food has led to my blood pressure being kind of normal for the first time, actually. And I think that it's no coincidence that the absence of TV dinners and processed food has contributed to that. It's healthy living with minimal waste, and certainly it's an idea that I'll be taking back to the U.S. that Guyana has really forced upon me that I really appreciate. Now, the environmental issues are within our capacity to fix, and it starts from the bottom up. Being a Peace Corps Corps volunteer. I get to live within my village. I interact with the village. I have a stipend that's equal to that of those in my village. And I ride in the minibuses between here and Berbice. I ride in the taxis in town. And every time a conductor, identifies me as that white guy on the bus, they go, "Hey, Johnny, what are you doing here?" And I tell them, like, I'm a Peace Corps volunteer. And they go, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm working in literacy, I'm doing some stuff with the environment." And they go, "Let me tell you about the environment." And they all have an opinion about the environment, right? Every single minibus conductor, they all tell you the same thing. And often, it's a very skeptical remark that anyone in Guyana cares for the environment. Now, for many adults, that might not be might not be any new information in this documentary for you. It's targeted towards secondary school students. I know I'm going to get a lot of criticism for that, so I'm going to say it again. The target of this film is secondary school students. However, the general public, the purpose of this film is to show you that yes, there are people in Guyana that care for the environment, and many of them are young people. For those who say that there is no one that cares in Guyana for the environment, I have weeks and weeks of footage that I have accumulated since October that shows that there are people in Guyana that care for the environment. And a lot of them are here today. Now, let's move on. What inspires me is the quantity and diversity of the young people that have not allowed obstacles to determine what becomes of their own personal storylines. This extends not only to environmentalism in Guyana, but at the school that I teach in West Kanji, Berbice, where the staff, students, and parents have gathered to assemble a school library. And we're in the beginning stages of trying to construct one. And they could scapegoat a plethora of obstacles, sure, but instead of face down in the sand, they decided to pool their resources together and allow their children access to the fundamental educational right, which is the written word, i.e. books. And in this project, you'll notice that my primary school, Sanford Primary, working on the environmental unit, while also incorporating literacy skills while working toward empathy toward living species. And now the last goal of Peace Corps is to bring what I know back to my friends and family in America, to kind of give them the sense of, what is Guyana? What is this country that we kind of skip over in our Latin American arts course, that they say, okay, this is a Latin American arts, and we're going to skip these three countries, Guyana, French Guyana, and Suriname. And they go, okay, but what is Guyana, though? Because we never really learn about it in history class. It is, there's a couple people that I want to thank for this project, and two of them actually aren't here. They're people in the United States. One is my friend Maggie Acker. She's a graphic designer, grew up in Colorado and moved to Chicago and worked there, and she designed the poster for this project. And she learned a lot about Guyana from the United States, did a lot of research, and took that from this project. And the second person is a good friend of mine named Kirsty Mathias, Texas-born, raised in Ohio, studied in Chicago, and now works and lives in Los Angeles. And she assisted me in a lot of the editing and motion graphics and pretty much the technical stuff that people think I can do, but really I can't. So I'm not gonna lie, I can't do it all, But these two have taken a new understanding of Guyana and all that it has to offer and all of its challenges. And it really forced us, three, to reconsider how we can construct a grassroots-style environmental awareness campaign in the U.S. So I do thank those who worked on this project with me for teaching me a few of these lessons, and I especially thank Andrea Bryan and the students involved in YMG, in my school and community in Berbice, and Tabitha, who we know is the face that greets us at many of these events, but working closely with her, I understand how hard that she works when the cameras are turned off. She's very, very selfless and very determined. So thank you, Debbie. In Georgetown, the environmental project and movement is growing, and I hear it all the time. People are getting more fired up about it. And a matter of fact, I had two people in the last 3 days, I kid you not, two people in the last three days that have approached me on the street who have seen me carry my monopod, which is that stick, right? And I put the camera on it, and they're figuring out that, like, I must be a photographer, and they asked me to take pictures of the trash around Georgetown to educate people on the litter issue, and I don't even bring it up. They bring it up to me. They know and they see it, and they smell it, and they're willing to do something about it, and we need to be there to have their back, to encourage them all that our neighbors, that there's a solution. Now, teaching and directing film are one and the same. It's mostly about encouragement, confidence, and a little risk-taking. Now, let's all be our own filmmakers and teachers and develop our own personal storylines and teach each other. The film is more about how we communicate than what we communicate. Many of us know the talking points about environmentalism. A lot of the issues shouldn't be news, but it's how we communicate that matters. What determines our future is how we communicate these talking points to the younger generation. Is a PowerPoint the most appropriate medium to teach? Sometimes it is, sometimes it's not. How about a skit? How about a story or a film? How is the film told? How is it structured? Are we reaching our target audience?